Hey Art Snackers, welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, or in case you're new here, my name is Roxanne, also known as By Bun, and I'm a mixed media artist and illustrator. Happy New Year, Snackers, and what better way to kick off 2020 than busting open a brand new Art Snacks box. And with this month's wide range of materials, it's truly something to celebrate. For the January challenge, I'm kicking it old school and I'm creating an illustration inspired by the colors I got in my box. And with the pad of paper in the ArtSnacks Plus box, I'll be using it not one, but two different ways. Stay tuned, folks, because this is the ArtSnacks box breakdown. Welcome back to another box breakdown, the monthly video series where we take a closer look at some of the supplies and techniques found in the latest ArtSnacks box. And remember, when you see this icon appear on your screen, it means it's an ArtSnacks Plus item. As I mentioned earlier, this month I was inspired by the colors and items in my box. That's right, I'm going where the ArtSnacks winds take me. We've got a lot to cover and I've got a super cool technique to share, so let's get started, shall we? To begin, let's pull out our first ArtSnacks Plus item, the Strathmore 400 Series Smooth Surface Bristol Paper Pad. Like it says in its name, this paper is super smooth and has little to no tooth. So these 9x12 sheets are gonna feel great to draw on. Fun fact, Bristol paper like this is some of my favorite to work with. For this month's challenge, you're gonna see me use this paper two different ways. First, I'll use it for the substrate for my illustration, and then a little later, I'll use it with another supply as part of a technique. With my paper ready, let's get sketching. For this, I'll be using a pencil right out of this month's box, the Tombow Mono Drawing Pencil. This guy is strong at its core, so we're talking less breakage. It also features high density graphite, meaning it smears less and gives you nice crisp drawings. The B graphite is also just the right level of softness needed for the sketching I'll be doing. For my illustration, I'm drawing up a toad. Oddly enough, frogs and toads are some of my favorite subject matter to draw. They're just fun to sketch and kinda goofy looking. But with any preliminary drawing, there's bound to be some erasing, which leads us to our next ArtSnacks Plus item. Meet the Tombow Mono Knock Eraser, the perfect companion to your mono drawing pencil. This eraser has a pen-style body, so it's easy to use and chuck into your pencil pouch. Simply click to advance the eraser and refill it when you've used it up. I also love smaller sized erasers like this. They're easy to use and you can get into all those little nooks and crannies. And oh my, clearly I needed it, as it took me quite a while to get these toads' legs right. This is the stuff you don't see on camera, guys. Me tweaking these sketches to get them just right. Now that my sketch is ready to go, let's get some color into my toad. For this, I'll be pairing our next two items together, and it's some paint and a brush. But let's talk about this paint first. This is the brand new Cinelli Abstract Acrylic 3D Liner. The bottle is full of creamy, heavy-bodied acrylic paint and has a transparent tube so you can see its actual color. The real highlight on this, however, is the body. It's got a tapered tip so you can apply the paint three-dimensionally. Another perk of the tapered tip is that it's great for artists like myself, because true story, I'm a very, very lazy artist. I actually hate using palettes because it means it's something else that I have to clean. So with this, I can just plop my paint directly into my sketch, no cleanup necessary. As you've been watching, I've been using a brush from this month's box to apply my paint. This is the King Art Original Gold 9300 Series Golden Taklon Brush. It's a size 10 shader and features smooth filaments that really absorb your paint. And with the way these bristles maintain their shape, it's easy for me to cover both large and smaller areas of my drawing. While most of my toad will be covered in solid color, you can play around with the saturation of this paint. At any point, you can dunk your brush into some water to dilute it down if you want to create a gradient or do some shading. Now, I'll be using this paint again to add in some texture detailing, but for right now, I'm going to put it to the side so I can add in another layer to my illustration. For this, I'm grabbing our next item, the Marabou Art Crayon. This mixed media supply is a smooth, wax-based pastel stick that you can use for both wet and dry techniques. So you can use it like a crayon or with a wet brush. Now I know what you're thinking. She got a green crayon. Why the heck didn't she make the toad green? But that would just be way too predictable, wouldn't it? But actually, it's because I want to layer this color on top of the orange. And to do this, I'm going to show you one of the many techniques you can do with these crayons. And all you need to do is grab a stencil or make one. That's right, I'm returning back to that Bristol paper to carve up some of my very own stencils. But before I can do that, I want to do some preliminary planning. Using some tracing paper, I'll take note of the general proportions of where I want to add in some detail. From there, I can quickly sketch some patterns for his skin, and then cut them out with an X-Acto knife. With my designs cut, I'll then use a makeup sponge to apply the color. First, I'll swatch some of the crayon directly onto the sponge, then dab it into my stencil. Another tip, when making a paper stencil, it's actually best to flip them over before applying your media. The reverse side will actually have a crisper line and will give you a better print. After a few test prints, I'm now ready to stencil my toad. To note, you can also use some artist or masking tape to your stencil to adjust the size of the design. And to keep your color vibrant, simply reapply the sponge with more crayon as needed. Doesn't this look awesome on top of the paint? This whole technique kind of looks like spray paint when you're done. I ended up liking the look of this so much that I went ahead and used the same technique for my background, only this time I created some stencil foliage. With my toad coming to life, I now really want to make him pop against that background. For this, I'm ready to do some outlining with the Kuretake Zig Bimoji Futa Brush Pen. This plus item is not only exclusive to ArtSnacks, but is limited edition. The felt tip on this pen is really built for lettering, but can give you a pretty wide range of line work to apply to any drawing. Returning back to my artwork, I'll use it to outline and detail my illustration. And you'll see this pen has no problem going on top of the media I've already put down. With my outlining done, I'll now add some finishing touches. One of which is coming back to that Cinelli 3D liner where I'll put some of the acrylic directly on with a tapered tip, kind of like puffy paint, to create some dimension to my toad. Fun fact, toads apparently have more texture to their skin than frogs do. That's how you can tell them apart. Come for the art tutorial, stay for the toad facts. There you have it, guys, the January ArtSnacks box. You could say I'm really leaping into the new year, although the sky looks pretty sedentary, so maybe not, but hey, 2020 is a leap year. If you're new to ArtSnacks and want to start getting your monthly supplies, there's a link down below where you can sign up. Of course, while you're here, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe for future box breakdowns, join us for free over on Mix, and follow ArtSnacks on social media. This has been another ArtSnacks box breakdown, and I'll see you all next month. Bye!